Daniel Brooks walked through the long metal corridors of the Galactic Council station. His black suit felt heavy on his shoulders. 3 years he had spent here, learning alien languages and customs. 3 years of careful words and polite smiles. He was the first human to ever speak for Earth in this place. The station was huge, bigger than most cities back home. It floated in space around a distant planet, home to 12 different alien species. Each species looked different. Some had 4 eyes, others had tentacles instead of arms. Some were tall and thin like trees, others were short and round like boulders. But they all had one thing in common. They had been here for thousands of years, and they thought humans were just children playing with toys. Brooks stopped at the entrance to the main chamber. Through the clear wall, he could see hundreds of aliens sitting in curved rows. Their seats were arranged in a circle around a small platform in the center. That platform was where he would stand to defend his people. The problem was simple. Humans had found a small moon near Jupiter and started mining there. The moon had been empty for over 2,000 years. No buildings, no people, no signs that anyone lived there. By all the laws that governed space, it belonged to whoever found it first. But 3 different alien species now claimed it was theirs. Brooks had read all the old treaties. He knew the laws better than most of the aliens in that room. The moon was legally human territory. But he also knew that laws did not matter here. Politics mattered. Power mattered. And humans had very little of either. The chamber doors opened with a soft hiss. Brooks walked in, his footsteps echoing in the vast space. Hundreds of alien eyes turned to watch him. Some looked curious, others looked angry. Most looked bored, as if this was just another boring day at work. Chancellor Veltar stood at the center of the chamber. He was Zephyrian, tall and thin with gray skin and 4 bright yellow eyes. His people had been part of the council for over 3,000 years. They thought they owned the galaxy. Human representative, Veltar said in perfect English, you stand accused of crimes against galactic law. Your species has stolen resources from sacred ancestral lands. Brooks stepped onto the small platform. He felt very small, surrounded by hundreds of aliens. Honored Chancellor, I respectfully disagree. The moon in question has been uninhabited for over 2 millennia. Our surveys found no active claims, no warning beacons, no evidence of current ownership. A holographic display appeared above the chamber. It showed the small moon and human ships working there. The ships looked tiny compared to the massive alien vessels that usually traveled between the stars. These are our ancestors' resting grounds, said another alien, this one covered in blue scales. Your people disturbed the sacred dead. Brooks remained calm. Our deep scans show no burial sites, no monuments, no structures of any kind. If this land is sacred to your people, why was it abandoned for so long? More aliens began to speak. Each one had a different claim to the moon. Some said their ancestors had lived there. Others said it was a holy site. One species claimed they had been planning to build there for the last 500 years. Brooks listened to each claim and responded with facts. He showed them human law, galactic law, and the precedents set by the council itself. Every argument he made was correct. Every fact he presented was true. But he could see in their faces that truth did not matter. The trial lasted 6 hours. Brooks spoke for humanity with intelligence and dignity. He answered every question, addressed every concern, and proved beyond doubt that humans had done nothing wrong. But the aliens had already decided what would happen. Chancellor Veltar stood up slowly. His 4 eyes gleamed with satisfaction. The council has reached its decision. The evidence shows clear violation of galactic sovereignty. The human representative has shown no remorse for these crimes against our sacred laws. Brooks felt his heart sink. He had known this would happen, but he had hoped he was wrong. For crimes against galactic sovereignty and the willful violation of sacred ancestral claims, Veltar continued, the human representative is sentenced to immediate execution by neural disintegration. The chamber erupted in noise. Some aliens cheered, others argued among themselves. A few looked uncomfortable with the harsh sentence, but none spoke up to defend Brooks. 2 alien guards moved toward the platform. They carried strange weapons that hummed with energy. Brooks stood straight and faced them without fear. He thought about his wife back on Earth, about the children who would grow up in a universe that hated them for being human. I die as a representative of humanity, Brooks said clearly. I have committed no crime except being born human. History will remember this injustice. The execution was broadcast across the entire galaxy. Every species that belonged to the Council would see what happened to those who challenged their authority. The neural disintegrator fired once. Daniel Brooks collapsed to the floor, his mind destroyed in an instant. His body was left on the platform for an hour as a warning. Then it was quietly disposed of in the station's recycling systems. The aliens returned to their daily business as if nothing had happened. But far away on Earth, sensors were recording every second of the broadcast. In government buildings and military bases, humans watched their ambassador die for the crime of defending his people. Some cried, others felt sick, but most felt something else. A cold, burning anger that would change the galaxy forever. The Alien Council thought they had ended a problem. They believed that killing one human would make the rest afraid. They expected Earth to beg for forgiveness and promise to behave better in the future. They were about to learn that humans had a very different way of dealing with bullies. For 40,000 years, humans had survived on a dangerous planet by fighting back harder than their enemies expected. They had learned that sometimes the only way to stop a bully was to hit back so hard that no one would ever think of bullying you again. The message was already traveling toward Earth through space. In 3 days, every human government would know that their ambassador was dead. And then the galaxy would discover what happened when you made humanity angry. Daniel Brooks had died believing in peace and diplomacy, but his death would start the most terrible war the galaxy had ever seen. President Lisa Carter sat in the deep underground room beneath the White House. The walls were thick concrete and steel, built to survive nuclear war. But no amount of armor could protect her from the images on the screen in front of her. She watched Daniel Brooks die for the 3rd time. Each viewing made her angrier. The man had been a good diplomat, a father of 2, and completely innocent of any crime. The aliens had killed him just to send a message. Around the long table sat the most powerful people in human government. General Ryan Foster commanded all of Earth's military forces. His face was stone, but his hands were clenched into fists. Admiral Kate Morrison controlled the space fleet. She stared at the screen with cold eyes. Dr. Alex Turner knew more about alien technology than anyone else on Earth. He was taking notes on a tablet, already planning. They executed him for mining an empty rock, General Foster said. His voice was quiet, but everyone could hear the rage underneath. No real trial, no chance to defend himself, no appeal to higher authority. Admiral Morrison touched her tablet and numbers appeared in the air above the table. We have 47 battleships, 200 destroyers, and about 5,000 fighters spread across the solar system. Intelligence says the Galactic Council has over 12,000 ships belonging to different species. Numbers do not tell the whole story, Dr. Turner said without looking up from his notes. We have been studying their technology for 3 years. They focus on energy shields and long-range beam weapons. They have never fought against human kinetic weapons or fusion bombs. President Carter studied the faces around her. 3 years ago, Earth had decided to join the galactic community peacefully. They had followed alien laws, learned alien customs, and tried to prove that humans deserved respect. The Council's answer was to murder their ambassador on television. They want to see what humans do when we are pushed too far. She said quietly, General Foster, start Protocol 7 immediately. Admiral Morrison, bring every ship back to Earth space. Dr. Turner, I want every piece of alien technology turned into a weapon within 30 days. Protocol 7 was Earth's secret war plan. For 2 years, military planners had prepared for the possibility that first contact would go badly. They had studied alien weaknesses, planned attack strategies, and built weapons specifically designed to kill aliens. General Foster opened a secure communication channel. Within minutes, orders were flying to military bases around the world and throughout the solar system. Factories that built civilian products would be converted to making weapons. Research stations would stop studying alien culture and start finding ways to destroy alien ships. Admiral Morrison was already calling her fleet commanders. All ships return to Sol system immediately. Combat loading of all vessels. Prepare for extended operations outside human space. Dr. Turner looked up from his tablet. Madam President, I need to tell you something important. We have been analyzing alien technology and tactics for 3 years. They are very advanced in some ways, but they have been peaceful for too long. Explain, Carter said. Their ships are built for exploration and trade, not war. Their weapons are designed to disable enemies, not destroy them. They have never fought a species that builds weapons specifically to kill. Turner touched his tablet and new images appeared. Human weapons are designed by a species that spent millions of years learning to survive on a death world. Our technology may look primitive to them, but it is much more deadly. General Foster leaned forward. What are you saying, Doctor? I am saying that they think of war as a game with rules. Humans think of war as survival. They are about to learn the difference. President Carter stood up and walked to the big screen. Daniel Brooks's face looked back at her, frozen in the moment before his death. He had believed in peace and following rules and doing the right thing. The aliens had killed him for being naive enough to trust them. How long until our fleet is ready? She asked. 72 hours for full mobilization, Admiral Morrison replied. We can have strike forces ready in 48 hours. Target selection? Carter asked. General Foster touched his tablet. A map of the galaxy appeared showing alien worlds and bases, every major council facility, military installation, and government center. We hit them all at the same time before they can coordinate a defense. Dr. Turner added more information to the display. I recommend we also target their industrial centers and communication networks. Cut off their ability to build ships or talk to each other. President Carter looked at the map for a long time. Each point of light represented millions or billions of alien lives. 3 days ago, she would have called this plan genocide. But 3 days ago, humans still believed in galactic justice. Do it, she said finally. But I want this to be quick and complete. We do not stop until every alien government surrenders unconditionally. The room fell silent. Everyone understood what this meant. Earth was declaring war on the entire galaxy. Humanity would either win completely or be destroyed completely. There would be no middle ground. Madam President, Admiral Morrison said carefully, the people of Earth should know what we are doing and why. Carter nodded. I will address the nation tonight. The world needs to understand that we tried peace and diplomacy. The aliens chose war. General Foster was already working on his tablet. I will need access to all military production facilities. Every factory, every shipyard, every research lab. You have it, Carter said. Whatever you need, take it. Money does not matter anymore. Politics do not matter. The only thing that matters is making sure that no alien ever thinks about hurting a human again. Dr. Turner closed his tablet. I will need teams of engineers and physicists. We have many alien technologies that we have not had time to weaponize. Take whoever you need, Carter said. Strip them from universities if necessary. For the next hour, they planned the greatest military operation in human history. Every detail was discussed, every contingency planned. When they were finished, Earth would have a war machine unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. As the meeting ended, President Carter remained in her chair. The others filed out to begin their preparations, leaving her alone with the image of Daniel Brooks on the screen. I'm sorry, Daniel, she said quietly. You believed in their better nature. But they do not have one. So we will show them ours. Outside, the first military transports were already lifting off from Earth. The planet that had tried to join the galactic community peacefully was about to teach the galaxy a lesson about human nature, and that lesson would be written in fire across the stars. Captain Jake Sullivan stood on the bridge of the UES Vengeance, looking out at the deadliest fleet humanity had ever assembled. 47 warships hung in space near Jupiter, dark metal shapes that looked nothing like the smooth, curved alien vessels seen in the galaxy. Human ships were different. They were angular and brutal, covered in armor and weapons. Where alien ships looked like works of art, human ships looked like tools of war. The Vengeance was the newest and most powerful, built in the secret shipyards of Mars over the past 2 years. Captain, all ships report ready for combat operations, his communications officer said. Lieutenant Ben Walsh had served on merchant ships before the war preparations began. Now he was part of the most important military operation in human history. Sullivan nodded and activated the fleet communication system. Across space, the voices of 46 other ship captains came through clearly. These were Earth's best officers, chosen for their intelligence, courage, and absolute dedication to the mission. All ships. This is Vengeance. Operation Reckoning begins in 6 hours. Final weapons check and crew preparation now. On the UES Retribution, Colonel Amy Rodriguez walked through the weapons bay with her chief engineer. The ship carried humanity's newest and most terrible weapons. Quantum torpedoes that could create tiny black holes, nova bombs that could crack a planet's crust, and millions of self-replicating combat drones. Colonel, the quantum torpedoes are armed and ready, Chief Engineer Pete Crawford reported. We have 12 shots, each one capable of destroying a space station or large ship. Rodriguez examined the sleek black weapons. Each torpedo was about the size of a car but contained enough destructive power to level a city. What about the Nova bombs? 6 bombs loaded, ma'am. Each one can destroy a planet's ability to support life. The explosion starts in the planet's core and works its way out. The colonel moved to another section of the weapons bay. Here, millions of small metal spheres sat in launch tubes. Each sphere was a combat drone no bigger than a baseball, but equipped with fusion explosives and artificial intelligence. The drones are our special surprise, Crawford explained. Once we launch them, they will continue fighting even if our ship is destroyed. They can reproduce themselves using materials from destroyed enemy ships. Rodriguez smiled grimly. Earth scientists had spent 3 years studying alien technology and warfare. The aliens fought with honor and rules, trying to disable enemy ships rather than destroy them. Humans had designed weapons specifically to kill as efficiently as possible. On the UES Devastation, Captain Nancy Green reviewed the target list one more time. Her ship would attack the alien capital world, home to 12 billion beings from across the galaxy. The planet was heavily defended with orbital stations and patrol fleets. Ma'am, we are receiving the final authorization from Earth Command, her tactical officer reported. Green touched her communication panel. President Carter's voice came through clearly from Earth 25 light minutes away. All fleet commanders, this is Earth Command. You are authorized to begin Operation Reckoning. Show them what happens when they murder our people. Across the fleet, crews made their final preparations. In the engineering sections, fusion reactors were brought to full power. Weapons systems that had been tested in secret for 2 years were armed and ready. Pilots climbed into fighters that could move faster than anything the aliens had ever seen. Dr. Alex Turner's voice came over the fleet communication system from his laboratory on Mars. All ships. This is Research Command. Remember that alien shields are designed to stop energy weapons. Your kinetic weapons and nuclear explosives will go right through them. Their sensors are not calibrated for objects moving at the speeds your ships can reach. Captain Sullivan studied the tactical display showing alien space. Hundreds of worlds and stations were marked for attack. Every major alien government facility, military base, and industrial center would be hit at exactly the same time. Sir, hyperspace jump calculations are complete, his navigation officer reported. We can reach the Zerion system in 4 hours. Zerion Prime was the main military base for the Zephyrian species, the same aliens who had executed Daniel Brooks. Sullivan had volunteered to attack their strongest fortress personally. The plan was beautiful in its simplicity. Human ships would jump into alien space simultaneously, appearing at hundreds of different locations across the galaxy. The aliens would have no time to coordinate a defense or call for help. By the time they realized what was happening, it would be too late. All ships begin hyperspace sequence, Sullivan commanded. One by one, the human warships disappeared into hyperspace. They carried with them the anger of an entire species, and weapons designed by the deadliest minds Earth could produce. Behind them, Earth's factories continued working at full capacity. Assembly lines that had once built cars and computers now produced ammunition and combat drones. Orbital shipyards welded together new warships as fast as possible. The entire planet had become a weapon factory. In the secret research stations on Mars and Europa, scientists worked on even more terrible weapons. They studied captured alien biology, looking for diseases that could kill entire species. They designed bombs that could make a star explode. They created computer viruses that could take control of alien ships. Dr. Turner supervised it all from his command center. He had once been a peaceful scientist studying alien culture. Now he was humanity's chief weapons designer, responsible for creating tools of genocide. Sir, the quantum virus is ready for deployment, one of his assistants reported. It can infect any alien computer system and take complete control. Good. Upload it to all fleet ships immediately, Turner replied. What about the biological weapons? We have designed 17 different plagues, each one targeted at a specific alien species. They will be undetectable until they spread throughout the alien population. Turner nodded coldly. 3 years ago, he had been excited to study alien life and learn about different cultures. Then the aliens had shown their true nature by murdering an innocent diplomat. Now he would help make sure they never threatened humanity again. As the human fleet traveled through hyperspace toward their targets, Earth prepared for war on a scale never before imagined. Every human understood what was at stake. The aliens had declared that humanity was not welcome in the galaxy. Humans would prove that the galaxy belonged to whoever was strong enough to take it. The age of alien dominance was about to end. The age of human rule was about to begin. The Zephyrian fleet commander stared at his tactical display in confusion. Sensors showed strange ships appearing throughout the Zerion system, but they did not match any known alien designs. The vessels were smaller than expected, angular and dark, moving at speeds that seemed impossible. Commander Jektar had 4 eyes, each one capable of seeing different types of energy. Right now, all 4 eyes were wide with shock as he watched 20 human ships emerge from hyperspace near his supposedly secure military base. Unknown vessels. You are entering restricted Zephyrian space, he transmitted on all frequencies. Identify yourselves immediately and withdraw or you will be destroyed. The lead human ship responded with a burst of fire from its main weapon. Jektar watched in disbelief as a solid metal slug traveling at incredible speed punched through his flagship's shields like they were made of paper. The kinetic energy release vaporized the entire front section of his ship instantly. Captain Jake Sullivan watched the alien ship break apart on his view screen. The Vengeance's railgun had worked exactly as designed, accelerating a tungsten slug to 12% of light speed. No energy shield in the galaxy could stop that much kinetic force. All weapons target the remaining ships, he ordered calmly. No survivors. Around him, the human fleet opened fire with weapons the aliens had never seen before. Railguns fired solid projectiles at relativistic speeds. Nuclear missiles detonated against alien hulls designed to resist energy beams, but helpless against explosive force. Quantum torpedoes created tiny black holes that consumed entire enemy vessels. The Zephyrian fleet tried to fight back, but their weapons were useless. Energy beams that could slice through normal alien armor bounced harmlessly off human ships. Their targeting computers could not track objects moving as fast as human fighters. In less than 20 minutes, the entire alien defense fleet was destroyed. Across the galaxy, similar battles were taking place. At the Altarian trade nexus, Colonel Amy Rodriguez's ship appeared in the middle of the massive commercial station. Millions of aliens lived and worked there, trading goods between different species. Colonel, we are receiving thousands of surrender transmissions, her communications officer reported. They are begging us not to attack civilian targets. Rodriguez looked at the massive station on her view screen. It was beautiful, a work of art and engineering that had taken centuries to build. But it was also the economic heart of the alien empire, the place where they coordinated trade across hundreds of worlds. Launch Nova bombs, she ordered. Target the station's central core. The Nova bombs were humanity's most terrible weapon. Each one contained a miniature star that could burn at temperatures of 100 million degrees. When they detonated inside the trade station, the entire structure melted like ice in a furnace. 12 million aliens died in less than 30 seconds. At the Cetian research stations near the Galactic core, human fighters moved like deadly insects through the alien installations. The Cetians were scientists and philosophers, a peaceful species that had never known war. Their defense systems were designed to prevent accidents, not repel military attacks. Lieutenant Carol Davis piloted her fighter through the research station's corridors, firing at anything that moved. Her plasma cannons could cut through alien metal like butter. Behind her, dozens of other human pilots destroyed laboratories, libraries, and homes with ruthless efficiency. This is Davis to all fighters, she transmitted. Primary targets are destroyed, beginning systematic elimination of all alien personnel. The research stations housed the greatest scientific minds in the galaxy. They had made discoveries that advanced civilization by thousands of years. In 1 hour, human fighters reduced it all to floating debris and corpses. Captain Nancy Green stood on the bridge of the UES Devastation as her ship approached the galactic capital world of Nexus 7. The planet was home to the Galactic Council headquarters, and 12 billion beings from every species in the known universe. Ma'am, we are receiving surrender transmissions from the planetary government, her communications officer reported. They are offering to negotiate a peace treaty. Green looked at the blue and green world filling her view screen. It was beautiful, covered with cities and parks where different alien species lived together in harmony. Somewhere on that planet was the chamber where they had murdered Daniel Brooks. Launch all planet-killer weapons, she ordered without emotion. Complete sterilization of the surface. 6 Nova bombs fell through the planet's atmosphere like falling stars. They detonated simultaneously in different locations around the world. The explosions reached temperatures hot enough to melt rock and boil oceans. Every city, every forest, every living thing on the planet's surface was reduced to ash and molten stone. But the humans were not finished. The Nova bombs had been designed to burn into the planet's core, where they would trigger a chain reaction that would tear the world apart from the inside. Nexus 7 died screaming, its death broadcast across the galaxy as a warning to any species that might think of resisting human rule. Dr. Alex Turner watched the destruction from his command center on Mars. Tactical displays showed human forces winning victories across hundreds of star systems. Alien fleets were being destroyed faster than they could coordinate a response. Entire species were going extinct within hours. "Sir, we are receiving reports from all attack groups," his assistant said. "Operation Reckoning is ahead of schedule. Estimated completion in 6 hours." Turner nodded coldly. The plan had worked better than anyone had dared hope. Human weapons were proving devastatingly effective against alien technology. Ships that had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years were being destroyed by vessels built in human shipyards over the past 3 years. "What about the biological weapons?" he asked. "Deployed on 17 different worlds, sir. The plagues are already spreading through the alien populations. We estimate complete species extinction within 30 days for all targeted groups." Turner pulled up images from the battle zones. Alien worlds that had existed for millennia were burning. Space stations that had housed millions of beings were breaking apart in the vacuum. The galaxy's oldest and most advanced civilizations were being wiped out by a species they had considered primitive. On his private communication channel, President Carter's voice came through from Earth. "Alex, how much longer until this is over?" 6 hours for the primary assault, Madam President. But the biological weapons will continue killing for weeks. We estimate that 90% of all intelligent alien life will be extinct within 1 month. There was silence for a moment. Then Carter spoke again. "They wanted to see what humans were capable of when pushed too far. Now they know." Turner looked at his tactical displays one more time. The galaxy that had existed for millions of years was ending. The age of alien dominance was over. A new age was beginning. The age of humanity. In 6 hours, the human fleet would control every major alien world and space station. The species that survived would exist only at human pleasure. The galaxy had learned the most important lesson in human history. Never threaten the survival of a species that had evolved to be the deadliest predator on its home world. The war was almost over. Humanity had won. President Lisa Carter stood in the chamber that had once been the heart of galactic government. 6 months had passed since the human fleet had swept across the galaxy like a plague, destroying everything in its path. The ornate alien architecture remained, but everything else had changed. Where 12 different species had once debated policy for hours, human administrators now made quick decisions backed by the constant threat of orbital bombardment. The walls that had once displayed the flags of ancient alien civilizations now showed only the blue and white banner of Earth. Through the massive viewport, Carter could see human battleships patrolling the space lanes. The sleek, curved ships of the old galactic powers had been replaced by the angular, brutal designs of human military engineering. Every few minutes, another alien freighter would request permission to change course, always granted quickly by nervous captains who remembered what happened to those who disobeyed human orders. General Ryan Foster approached with the daily reports, his footsteps echoing in the vast chamber. The sound reminded Carter that this place had been built to house thousands of alien diplomats. Now it held fewer than 50 human officials who controlled everything the galaxy had once been. "Madam President, the status reports from the occupied territories," Foster said, handing her a tablet. "The Tau Ceti colonies are requesting permission to establish a new mining operation. The Vegan refugees want to negotiate for better housing allocations on their reservation worlds. And we have received another transmission from the Andromedans requesting a peace treaty." Carter scrolled through the reports without much interest. Of the 12 species that had formed the Galactic Council, 4 no longer existed. Her biological weapons had been very thorough. 3 other species survived only as scattered populations living on worlds designated by human authorities. The remaining 5 had surrendered so completely that they barely qualified as independent civilizations anymore. "Any problems with the occupied populations?" she asked. "Nothing significant, ma'am. The Altarians attempted to organize some kind of resistance movement on their homeworld, but our orbital platforms detected the meetings and eliminated the leaders. The survivors seem to have gotten the message. Carter nodded. Resistance movements had been a concern in the early days after the war, but they had learned quickly that human surveillance technology could detect any gathering of more than 5 aliens. The resistance leaders had been eliminated publicly, their executions broadcast to their home populations as educational material. What about production quotas from the industrial worlds? All targets met or exceeded, Madam President. The alien populations are very motivated to avoid disappointing us. That was not surprising. Carter had made it clear that worlds which failed to meet their production targets would be sterilized from orbit. The aliens worked with desperate efficiency, knowing that their continued existence depended on human approval. Dr. Alex Turner entered the chamber, his expression more troubled than usual. Since the war ended, he had been analyzing data from the captured alien archives, learning about the galaxy's history and the species that had once ruled it. Madam President, I need to discuss something important with you, he said. We have been studying the Council's historical records. It appears that Daniel Brooks was not the first diplomatic envoy they executed. Carter turned sharply. This was the first she had heard of other executions. Explain. Turner activated his tablet and holographic displays appeared in the air above them. The images showed different alien species, some that Carter had never seen before. Over the past 1,000 years, the Council executed at least 12 other first-contact ambassadors from newly discovered species. All were killed on similar pretenses: violations of sacred laws, threats to galactic security, crimes against established order. General Foster studied the displays with interest. What happened to those species afterward? Most were eventually integrated into the galactic community as subordinate members. A few were declared threats and eliminated entirely. One species managed to escape and disappeared into unexplored regions of space. Carter walked to the memorial wall that now dominated one side of the chamber. Daniel Brooks' name was etched in black stone, along with the names of the few thousand human military personnel who had died in the war. The alien casualty count was estimated at over 500 billion, but no one bothered to keep precise records of alien deaths. So they were not just declaring war on humanity, she said slowly. They were eliminating what they saw as potential rivals before those species could become established. Exactly, Madam President. The Council had a pattern of identifying promising new species and crushing them before they could challenge the existing power structure. They saw themselves as guardians of galactic order. Carter studied Brooks's name on the memorial wall. He had been a good man who believed in peace and justice. The aliens had killed him not because he had done anything wrong, but because they feared what humanity might become if allowed to grow strong. They made one critical error in their calculations, she said finally. They assumed we would play by their rules. They never considered what would happen if we decided to make our own rules instead. A soft chime indicated an incoming transmission. The communication officer announced that another species from the outer rim was requesting an audience. Since news of the Council's destruction had spread, dozens of previously unknown civilizations had emerged from hiding to request permission to establish diplomatic relations with the new human government. Draft the standard response, Carter instructed. Tell them we welcome peaceful relations with all species willing to recognize human authority. Make sure they understand the price of threatening human citizens. General Foster was already working on his tablet. Should we send a patrol ship to their territory for a demonstration? Yes, but keep it small. One destroyer should be enough to make the point. Carter walked back to the viewport and looked out at the transformed galaxy. Human ships moved with purpose and authority through space that had once belonged to ancient alien empires. The species that survived did so only because humans allowed it. The galaxy's new masters had evolved on a world where only the strongest and most adaptable could survive. Ma'am, we are receiving reports from Earth, the communication officer announced. Industrial production is up 30% from pre-war levels. The new territories are providing raw materials and energy at unprecedented rates. That was good news. Earth's population was growing rapidly, and human colonies were being established throughout the galaxy. The extinct alien species had left behind hundreds of habitable worlds that were perfect for human settlement. Within a generation, humans would outnumber all remaining alien species combined. Dr. Turner closed his tablet and looked around the chamber. It is strange to think that this place once hosted representatives from across the galaxy. Now it is just another human government building. Carter smiled coldly. The galaxy wanted to see what humans were capable of when we felt threatened. They learned that we are capable of anything necessary to protect our people. As she spoke, reports continued to arrive from across human space. New colonies were being established on former alien worlds. Human corporations were strip mining entire star systems for resources. Research stations were studying captured alien technology and biology, looking for new ways to exploit or control the remaining alien populations. The galaxy had tried to end humanity's expansion by murdering one diplomat. Instead, they had triggered the most complete conquest in galactic history. Humans now controlled more territory and resources than the old council had ever possessed. "Any word from the deep space reconnaissance missions?" Carter asked. "Several reports of previously unknown species in the outer galaxy," General Foster replied. "Our scouts are making first contact and explaining the new situation." Carter nodded with satisfaction. Soon every intelligent species in the galaxy would know that humans were in charge. They would understand that peaceful cooperation with human authority was the only way to survive in the new order. The galaxy had wanted to see what humans were truly like. Now they knew. Humans were the species that had learned to thrive on a planet where everything tried to kill them. They were predators who had climbed to the top of the food chain and stayed there for millions of years. The aliens had thought that made humans primitive. They had been wrong. It made humans unstoppable.